Hello, so today we're going to talk about why having money is important. So, this one will definitely be an interesting one. You'll notice that I'm very data focused and analytical. And so, you will basically see both sides of the coin. You'll see reasons as to why it is important and why it is not important. And so, for me, I think it's great to be open minded and look at both sides, and so that's what we'll do today. And so, why is having money important? Firstly, it does provide you the basic needs and does improve your quality of life. And so, money does provide you and your family the basic needs of things that you need, like food, shelter, clothing, hygiene products, and other things that really improve your quality of life. They allow you to purchase goods and services that you otherwise would not have access to. And you can buy quality products free of toxins and chemicals that are bad for you, instead of, being forced to buy cheap products that are full of toxins. For example, canned foods are not too good for you and they're often pretty cheap, and less expensive than, the organic food that you could buy at the store. Cereal is also cheap and full of toxins and preservatives, and high sugar and carbs. It's just not good for you. And so, oftentimes, if you have a little bit more money available to you, you can buy better quality food and better quality products and also services. And so you have access to things like food, shelter, drinking water, healthcare, and education, and that all does require money to access and receive quality extent for each of them. And so having financial resources can really provide you financial security and stability that really helps you and your family live a more stress-free life. So with regards to that, you can also mitigate heart disease or other medical issues that are often caused by stress or health-related issues due to, heart disease, that really can be enhanced when you have less money and you're struggling. You can really cause yourself stress that really impacts your health. Everyone wants to be able to take care of their family and provide them a very happy and healthy future. For example, if you've not seen the movie John Q, it is a priceless movie with many different life lessons, that really talks about what we're going to talk about today in this video. And so you learn within the movie John Q that without money, your life can be forever changed, and oftentimes more difficult. So, for example, it's more difficult to resolve medical issues without the financial stability or ability to pay for healthcare or different treatments, especially the more severe medical treatments. And so within this movie, the family is basically forced to sell their home to pay for medical services for their son. And this is just one example of how the basic needs like medical care do require money. And so the next one is lack of money affects how long you live statistically. And so, with regards to statistics, a lack of money can affect how long you live because there's a strong correlation between socioeconomic status and life expectancy. And so, studies have consistently shown that people who live in poverty tend to have lower life expectancies than people who have more access to goods and resources and money. And so many factors lead to this correlation. For instance, access to adequate healthcare, healthy food, healthy drinking water, or simply safe living, or simply safe living conditions. Your increased risk of engaging in risky behaviors like smoking or substance abuse or poor diet can really foster an increase in health problems, and they're definitely more statistically affecting those with less financial stability or wealth. So while money is not the only factor that affects life expectancy, it is an important one. Life in poverty really increases your challenges, your risks, your stresses, and your access to goods and services that can really impact your health and your longevity. So the next one is reduced educational opportunities. By not having money, you are not as able to have access to different tutors, teachers, mentors, facilities that can really foster excellence and really impact your life forever in, the long run. And so you may find it takes longer to gain success due to your access to these different networks of people and resources around you. And so when, once in my life I heard someone say that the poor are poor because they're lazy, and I would like to clarify that that is completely wrong. The poor are poorer because they are working hard endlessly at a pay rate that is simply low. And so you can have the most hardworking people working at a low hourly rate, and they are not lazy. They work so hard, and oftentimes their jobs are heavily in the toxins. They do construction, and they're often around asbestos or lead or construction materials, or they're doing different jobs that are exposing them to different harms and toxins. And so, they are not lazy. They work really hard. The only difference between the rich and the poor is that they work at a lower hourly rate, and they're making less income per hour. And then also the wealthy diversify their income streams. And so while the poor have only one income stream of their job, the rich and wealthy have like 5 or more ways of producing income, and they're all producing income all at one time. And so that's the difference between the wealthy and poor. It's not laziness versus hardworkingness. That is just humanity overall. So continuing on, when you have different access to people and resources, it can really expedite your success as well. And so in my eyes, when you're poor, you are disadvantaged because you do not have as much access to people who are experts, and you don't have the financial means to pay for the services of experts. Instead, you're forced to go to people who offer cheaper services or cheaper products, and you just won't get the outcomes that the wealthy have access to because you don't have the money to ask for these quality products and services. So I personally think that having less money will affect your ability to excel at a rapid pace. And so in reality, if you have less money, you just simply need to be more creative. You need to be innovative, and you do need to work hard, because growing your wealth will take a little bit extra creativity and hard work versus somebody who already has wealth that can help them expedite their success. And so, with resources and an expansive social network, you can really propel yourself forward in life and pricelessly gain successes in a rapid pace. So I always say, learn from the best, learn from the experts. If you want results, learn from those who already have the results that you're looking for. Definitely surround yourself with a high caliber of successful people, because it can really speed up your ability to achieve similar successes. Without money, the poor cannot afford quality expert tutors or teachers or mentors or facilities. Um, and so this is because the experts often require a higher hourly rate than can be afforded. And so facilities, they often cost high maintenance expenses that require high fees to access. And, the quality and level of experience of a service professional in your life will affect the outcome that you receive. And so if you have access to equipment and facilities, then you can really affect your outcome and really expedite your successes. And so, without a quality school that challenges you to perform at really high levels, you cannot expect to learn at this high level. It's easier to perform, for example, in school at a high level of excellence when you're being challenged at that high level, and when you have the education that's very well defined at that high level versus an easier education that's not as well put together, or when you're in an environment with other people who are at that high caliber, very intelligent, diverse, and successful students. When you're surrounded by excellence, then you're able to compete and perform at that same excellence, even if you're not the best person in your graduating class. By surrounding yourself with excellent classmates, you're going to be closer to excellent yourself. And so, the quality of school that you choose to go to is really going to affect your life and your outcomes. Not having money really affects your education. There are socioeconomic status effects to your college acceptance potential. The poor are simply disadvantaged toward not getting into the top colleges in the world. And so if you excel at these colleges and get accepted, you just have more opportunities available to you. And you will find it easier to find jobs that can really affect your life. And so without a quality high school education, your college successes will be more difficult to achieve as well. And so here I go back to, you can do anything you put your mind to, regardless of your situation. You just need to be a little bit more creative, a little bit more hardworking, and a little bit more innovative if you want to have successes, regardless of your situation. Find ways to surround yourself with experts and excellence and compete at a high level, regardless of your situation. So, for instance, my childhood did have some financial difficulties. We did shower at the local YMCA sometimes when we lost our electricity or hot water. We did lose our family home to the bank because of a balloon mortgage, and also because of an inspector who is still bothering us today. So, this inspector came to the house where we all were living, and he created a lie that nobody was living there. And so his lie led to us losing our house insurance, and then being forced out of our home. And so as a child, we lost our family home, and my little sister, especially, I'm not sure if she remembers the extent, but we not only lost our home, but we were pretty much homeless. And so we, in this moment, only got lucky that we found a $18,000 home to shift to, because our life, my parents' life of paying into a mortgage that was ever increasing, and then also into a municipality who was off. They basically said no one's living here, and so we lost our insurance and then were forced out of our own home when we were living there the whole time. And so the municipality has really led us to be homeless, and the only reason why we have a family home today is because my mom was creative. She found an $18,000 property and purchased it. And it was funny because us kids, we always looked at it and we were like, this is horrible property. Horrible, horrible, horrible. But she saw the potential. And now today, that property is amazing. And I see the value in it now. It was a great decision. My mom was creative and innovative, and she found something positive in a very bad situation. And so by that, we have been able to find more successes in life through creativity, hard work, and innovative actions in times of adversity. So what's interesting and funny today, the city inspector, not only is he still bothering us today, but the house that we lost, they demolitioned the property, and it is literally a menace to society still today. It is a empty piece of lot with nothing on it. It is like overgrown vegetation, not being used for anything. In reality, we could have been living there still today if the inspector was not off and did not create that lie. So today, this property is doing nothing for society, it's just sitting there. So it's really sad that our home was taken from us. It's just so sad. Moving on. These lifestyle situations and financial difficulties simply led to disadvantages. And so it is always, forcing us to work harder, work more hours, put in more effort than others just to gain the same excellence that other people will receive. And so when you're working for a lower hourly rate, you will have to work more hours to achieve the same outcomes. So some people do say that it is better to live in a life of adversity. It makes your life interesting, I say. But that is crazy. Like, why would you ask for a life of adversity? In reality, when you live through adversity, you dream of living in any other situation. And so I'd rather not experience hardships. Adversity sucks. Life isn't about the challenges, it should be about the successes and about the growth and the outcomes that are good, not about the outcomes that are bad. It should be about, helping the world around you be a better place. And so I think, the people that say adversity is a great thing, it makes you better, those people are not very smart because, adversity, if we had the option, let's not do adversity. Let's take the smarter route. Let's, live life easier and smarter. Work smarter, not harder. Don't cause yourself to go through adversity. Try to avoid it. Reduce your obstacles. Live an easier life if you can. Everybody should strive to live smarter, not harder. And adversity shouldn't be looked at as a good thing. We should avoid it. Sure, if you have adversity, you'll get through it and it'll be fine. It'll make you a tougher person, but I don't think we should look at adversity as something we want to go through, or of course not. Avoid it at all costs. Work smarter, not harder. So focus on the positives, focus on the good outcomes, making the world a better place. Try to mitigate your adversity and make your life as smooth as possible. And so low-income families, they often do face obstacles when it comes to accessing quality education. For example, your inability to afford private schools or tutors. It can, put some limits on your educational opportunities. You may have to work long hours or get multiple jobs just to support yourself and your family. You may be forced to drive long hours to get to schools or activities because you can't afford to live in a certain neighborhood, but you still want to attend that higher caliber school. And so one of my favorite Disney films does include this concept. It's called Double Teamed. It's about a volleyball set of twins who shift into the game of basketball. And so in the beginning of this amazing movie that I recommend, they do lose their home and they do shift over to a very cheap home in the outskirts of a certain school. So the parents purposefully put them in that school system knowing that they can excel athletically. And in order to go to school at that location, they had to basically drive longer distances and find a cheap property in that school district. And so it really causes a little bit more adversity and difficulties, not being able to afford, the best, easiest location next to your job or next to your school. So the different incomes that you have available to yourself can really affect your lifestyle. It can cause you to drive farther distances, or wake up earlier, or have less time for studying or doing sports or activities, or just excelling at the simple daily tasks in your life. So in high school, everyone hated the new dress code, but I would say yay dress code, because I can get ready faster, I can focus on the things that matter, I can focus on my academics, and all while looking very similar to everyone else. You don't have to try as hard to be unique or different or look good when we all have to wear the same thing. So, when you are trying to excel, I would say a dress code can be very helpful towards saving you time in getting ready. And so if you're ever wishing to be more unique in your life, do that through accessories. But having a dress code can be a blessing if you look at it in a positive way. And so, on a different way of looking at it, when you do have a dress code, you can be impacted if you don't have the money to pay for these items. And so, what if you could not afford to buy your polo shirt, your khaki pants, your hygiene products like deodorant? Could you imagine all these different things we're taking for granted? Money does pay for these things. And if we don't have money, how do we pay for public school system dress code items? And so, for this reason, money is important as well. You will have, different access to resources such as textbooks, computers, phones, iPads, tablets, cable, internet, or other books or technology that can really affect your education if you don't have access to these different items. And so, with limited resources, low-income students are at a higher risk statistically of dropping out of school. They have lower academic achievement and they struggle to access higher education opportunities. They often do have difficulty getting higher paying jobs in their future as well. And so this is why it is very important for programs and different initiatives to improve educational opportunities for the low income students. It's very important for society to reduce the disadvantages and help the lower income families succeed and find excellence, and really be able to provide them opportunities and really support these individuals who are most definitely worthy, hardworking, and capable of excelling if they're given the right support. So the next one, we have reduced access to athletic coaches, facilities, sports training, and fitness opportunities. And so not having money will affect your ability to participate and excel in different sports or fitness activities, especially because equipment, gym memberships, tournament fees, league fees, fitness training costs, and coaching staff are all things that require money to access, and they're not necessarily affordable to individuals who are poverty stricken or financially struggling, especially if they have multiple members in their family. It's one thing to provide these opportunities for one child, but if you have more than one child, it is way more difficult to provide these opportunities for each of your child because it will cost more money. And so, for example, if you want to participate in soccer, this requires a athletic shoe, clothing, a ball, and a whole bunch of other gear just to participate. If you want to be a dancer, you're going to need, steep costs for performing different classes at the local dance facility or dance school. And so, fitness activities like weightlifting, cardio workouts, they all require access to a gym or fitness center, and this access can be pricey, and it may not even exist within your zip code. So there are going to be, statistically, more facilities in certain areas than others. And so if you're disadvantaged by not having access to these facilities, then how are you going to excel at these levels that you want to excel at? And also, facilities require maintenance, and so there's a reason disadvantaged communities are disadvantaged. The local government cannot upkeep the costs of maintaining these structures or building new construction facilities or supporting the companies that exist in their city or community. So it's easier for a community to have these facilities if the local government is excelling and really has the funds to help support these businesses. But if you're in a disadvantaged community, then the government itself may not be able to support these companies as easily as well. So, some may dislike this example, but New Orleans, USA, has been struggling for many years to maintain their urban areas. Money is directed toward mitigating sea level rise and climate change, while crime and poverty is very pervasive. It expands throughout their very high touristed areas. They do have, in New Orleans, beautiful historic buildings, and they all are becoming more and more crime driven and run down. And the local government just can't financially support the different businesses and the renovations and the maintenance, and also controlling the crime in this area. New Orleans is not safe. It's one of the least safe cities in the entire nation, and so a lot of people in New Orleans are struggling with a low income, unemployment, and high expenses. And so the local government is equally overwhelmed and unable to support the people without federal national funding. And this really yields another worldly concept. Should New Orleans be relocated? Just like the capital of Manila in Philippines, should we relocate this city and consider the city as a lost cause? Because how do we fix such large systematic issues that really impact the people, but also affect the nation as well? So New Orleans cannot support themselves. The people in New Orleans are, struggling. They're struggling financially, and they're struggling with crime and with the natural disasters impacting New Orleans, with sea level rise and climate change. The cities are being impacted by hurricanes, and they're forced to pay really high, steep costs to repair themselves after these hurricanes, and huge water surges that come through, and their dams and lock system is just not equipped and built structurally to protect the whole city. And so we know when there's a natural disaster, only certain portions of the city will be more safe, and reality is the whole city is not safe. Just as a whole, they're all at risk. And so, why should a suffering city stay where it is? In reality, I think that we should do what Manila is doing, put together design and architectural plans for focusing most of our funds in a new location for New Orleans. And so we can continue to maintain New Orleans to the best of our ability, because it is a beautiful historic part of our nation, but we should not be paying like endless exorbitant costs that will only continue to increase due to climate change. In reality, most of our funds should allow for us to build and construct and support a better situation miles away, nearby, upriver. And so, let's not focus all of our federal funds on a drowning city. Instead, let's focus our federal funds our state funds, our local funds, toward really relocating and improving the situation holistically for all of New Orleans and Louisiana, especially when we can predict scientifically the impacts that they're exposed to. These impacts are not going to go away, so we need to relocate and improve our decisions based on these situations. So there is a really great video that you can watch where I'm definitely pulling and referencing. So on Nebula TV or even on YouTube, you can try to view the real life lore videos about the New Orleans and how their geography is just less than ideal. And then we can also watch a video about the Philippines and how they're in a very similar situation. So definitely check out Real Life Lore, Why New Orleans Geography Sucks, on America's Worst Place City. And then you could also watch Real Life Lore, Why This Tiny Island Has More People Than Russia. Both of those videos are absolutely amazing, and I really love them. And overall, Real Life Lore is amazing, and so I would just watch all their videos because they're all really good, and I just watched them for like weeks. And so the Philippine government officials do plan on relocating their country's capital due to disproportionate poverty that has been difficult to combat based on the cost of their natural disasters within that geographic area that they're located. And so the issues that surround sea level rise and climate change for both New Orleans and Manila are very, visible in these videos, and also visible like to the different societies. It's very obvious the problems that we have there. You can see that urbanized access and well-maintained structures can really foster successes throughout an individual's life. Especially athletic successes. If you have access to fitness facilities, fitness is just a lot easier. And when you have safe and clean city parks, fitness areas, walkways, and national parks and hiking opportunities, when you have access to these different things and they're all maintained very well, then you're going to be able to excel athletically due to this access. Otherwise, you can still excel, but again, you're going to have to be creative, you're going to have to work hard, and you're going to have to be innovative to find success regardless of your situation. And so the next one, reduced access to creative art opportunities. And so without money, you will find it more difficult to gain teachers, coaches, and access to facilities for creative arts. For example, dancing, acting, art, music, photography, music production, and others. When you're surrounded with experts, you can definitely find it easier to excel in art, dancing, music, etc. As an aside, you'll notice that, a lot of different actors and singers and artists, the talent that they have runs in the family. When you have a lawyer, their daughter or son may be more apt to be a lawyer. Or when you have an athlete, like a professional athlete, they're more apt to be a professional athlete as their children, because they're able to more easily follow in the footsteps and find success that their parents have found. And so, if you are in an environment surrounded by other experts in whatever area that you're looking to be an expert in, you're more apt to find that success if you're surrounded by people with that success. And so you'll notice a lot of people have these legacies throughout their family from generation to generation. Even just right now, I've got a plumber and he's amazing, but he also has a father who started the company who was an amazing plumber. And so he just follows in his footsteps of his father. There's so many actors where their daughter or son are really amazing actors because they're able to follow in the footsteps of their parents, learn from their parents, learn the tips and tricks, and really excel in each area. Athletes, can excel in their individual sport by learning from the tips and tricks from their parents. So it's easier to find success when you're surrounded by others who are successful in that area. And these successes often do find their way from generation to generation within a family. You will naturally know more tricks to excelling in these areas when you're surrounded with the resources and the experts who know the tricks. So to pursue music, you'll need an instrument, you'll need a teacher, you'll need music lessons, and all of these things can be expensive. And to excel in art, you need supplies, art classes, and access to a workspace that allows you to do art. And for dancing, you have to have dance lessons. You have to have nutritious meals and fitness equipment and shoes and other expenses. So someone struggling financially will find it difficult to participate and excel in their artistic interests without money. This is why we need more programs and more initiatives aimed at increasing access to the arts for the people who are a little bit more disadvantaged and don't have access to these different things. Low-income individuals and families, they should be provided more support so that they can excel and, find, opportunities to truly excel. And they will excel if they were given the right support. So some do say that money is not a barrier to creativity. I argue it is a barrier. It is an obstacle. We excel and we gain opportunities because our actions speak for themselves. We can dream all we want, but if we cannot place these dreams into action, how do we excel within these creative opportunities? Yes, we may be considered creative, but how do we implement this creativity if we do not have the means, the money, and the resources to do so? Creativity is great. But the ability to perform within these creative areas and obtain measurable outcomes of success is most important. You have to be able to practice the different things that you want to do if you want to find success in these things. And so having a creative mind will only get you so far in life. Instead, you must place these different things into action, really practice the things that you want to excel in. You must act on this creativity, bring it into practice, perform this activity regularly, and provide society something impactful. If you don't have the ability to pursue these activities regularly, then how can you expect to excel? One cannot practice creativity and provide, meaningful, societal, beneficial output in these creative arts like dancing, art, acting, music, photography, music production, if you don't have the money, the teachers, the coaches, and access to really perform these regularly. Furthermore, how do you excel in these areas or be most impactful and successful to society if you cannot afford marketing and distributing the different things that you have? If you have an excellent passion for creative arts, but you also can output different things, but you have no way of marketing and distributing these things, then how can you find the most optimal success and the best outcomes? How can you really affect the world around you and make the world a better place if you don't have the ability to market and really distribute what you have to the world around you? So your creativity will only get you so far without money. You do need support and funds to really expedite how much you can expand and affect the world around you. So not having money can affect your ability to travel, be streetwise, or have worldly experience that helps you excel in life. I'm a firm believer that, the more that I do, the more that I experience, the more I can really outperform within adversity, within careers and within life. And so it is really easy to see how not having money may limit your ability to travel. You may be able to walk, bike, drive, take a train, or fly, but how far you can travel on the resources and money you have. So, can you take your whole family or just yourself to travel to different places, and how far can you really go? Traveling does allow you to gain insight into cultures, technology, and the different life styles of others, and you can really learn a lot by traveling. This knowledge, this experience will only help you in life. It will help you in your careers. It will help you be able to outperform in really any situation. So traveling and experiencing different cultures can really broaden your perspectives and help you develop skills such as adaptability, communication, problem solving, access to worldly cultural experiences like attending concerts or visiting museums or participating in events are really difficult without money. And so people who are living in low-income situations are finding it more difficult to travel or be exposed to these different cultures due to their lack of resources, transportation, or other obstacles. So people can still excel in life through hard work, education, and professional development, but without financial resources or access to different travel opportunities, you're not going to be able to get exposure to certain skills, experience, and expertise that those worldly traveled gain. So there's a lot you can learn and gain from traveling, and you need money to be able to do that. So some do define being streetwise and having worldly experience does require exposure to different environments and situations. You may say that anyone can be streetwise, but this is not what I mean. What I mean, so yes, Living a life of adversity may allow you to be better able to handle yourself on the streets in difficult situations. But can you know how to get around and survive within other countries or other locations or other situations? Can you travel alone and safely traverse different areas when you don't speak the languages or you don't really understand the cultures? Um, Traveling in different areas, different locations, different cultures and countries is a different way of life. They have different languages, different religions, different rules, and a lot of different factors to consider when you're in these different locations. And so, yes, getting from A to B effectively is great, but when you are in a different location, will you be limited by your language skills, by your experience traveling, by your inability to really know what traveling in trains or planes is like? Or are you disadvantaged by your ability to drive long distances? Without money, you don't really get to travel as much. And so when you're put into these new situations, will you be able to navigate them as smooth as someone who travels regularly? And so for me, I'm trying to say that you gain this extra level of streetwise that, it's not just about handling yourself in a difficult situation on the street. Instead, it's about, can you navigate succeeding in different locations around the world and really going through different situations and finding excellence regardless of your location. If I take, Cindy, person A, and I drop her in a different country where they speak a different language, will she be able to find success as easily as Josephine, who travels all the time and speaks multiple languages? If I drop both of them in a new location, who will find success easier? So I personally think that the more you travel, the more you learn, the more you experience, it will give you an advantage in life. It will give you an advantage in your career. It will allow you to find success and be creative and critical think. So, when you want to professionally develop yourself, definitely be someone who is well-traveled. And so, finally, we're going to get to, why is having money meaningless? And so, money, or the lack thereof, can really affect your happiness, fulfillment, or success in life. You can hold, valuable relationships, be active, creative, or professionally develop yourself, or maintain a sense of purpose regardless of money. You don't need money to be happy or be fulfilled or be successful. You can find success regardless of money, and you can have valuable relationships regardless of money. You can be active, athletic, or creative without money. You can professionally develop yourself. You can read books without money. And, we all have a purpose in life regardless of what money we have. Focusing on money can cause stress and anxiety. So this is one of the reasons why I say, having money is meaningless. If you focus on money too much, you are going to cause yourself more stress and anxiety. So definitely do not focus on money extensively. Just mostly focus on having the basic needs that you need in life. Your food, your shelter, your overall, life situation, lifestyle that you need. not the things that you just want. When you struggle or are trying to accumulate more wealth, you can really cause more stress for yourself when you're really focusing on things in a negative way. So definitely focus on the positive. Don't focus on all the negatives. People who prioritize and obsess over money, they often find themselves less satisfied or fulfilled than those who focus on other things in life. So money is meaningless in this way, as though you want to just live a more optimistic life and not focus on money so much, not prioritize it extensively within your life, not obsess over it. It really cannot be taken to the grave. So focus on the things that matter, focus on love, focus on people, and giving back to the community. Some feel that the universe provides what you focus on. So focus on the things that are more important than money. Money is meaningless. It only costs stress, and if you focus and obsess about it, you cannot take money to the grave. It will only do you no good to have an excess of money. Life may be about just having a little bit more than what you need to obtain the basic necessities of life that we talked about above. And so, the movie John Q with Denzel Washington is just so powerful. It provides you an understanding of, why all we need is just a little bit more of the necessities of life. We need access to drinking water that's free of toxins. We need food, healthy food, shelter, clothing, hygiene products, healthcare, education. These are the things that we need. Money we don't need. We just need access to the basic necessities of life. Money is, just a meaningless tool that is used to exchange goods and services. That's all it is. It is just a paper and coin, and we should use money to improve the world around us, but money does not define our life. It is not priceless. We define money's value. If we did not give money value, then it would have no value. Money only has the value that we give it. And so money does not define a person's worth or their value as a human being. Money is socially constructed concept, and it's not inherently valuable by itself. Its value is based on a belief that it is, able to be exchanged for goods and services. That is all. Its value fluctuates, it varies around the world. Money is just money, that's it. So, according to Benjamin Franklin, money has never made man happy, nor will it. There is nothing in its nature to produce happiness. The more of it one has, the more of it one wants. And so this really goes back to, humanity will always want more and more and more. But what is more important is our happiness. Money does not provide happiness. You should instead, focus on the things that you need in life. Focus on being happy and living a fulfilling life, and having a purpose and giving back to the world around you. As an aside, money does create power imbalances that contribute to social inequalities. Worldwide success is harmed by the disparities that exist. Money has limitations, though. It's not all powerful. Its It cannot win a war against fate. It cannot buy you a seat in heaven. Only, good deeds and being an influential person and providing like positive, you know, impacts to society can really give you real power. And so power is not positional, it's influential. Great leaders do not have power because of money, but instead, great leaders have power because people are willing to follow them into battle. It's not about how much money you have, whether or not you're a great leader. No. What makes you a great leader is who you are. And so, most importantly, people listen intently to every word of, the people that they trust. And so, being an influential leader, you will need to be someone that people can trust and really appreciate. And as a leader, you have to appreciate those who are following you, and really care for them and put them first. You have to be selfless. As a leader, you will help the people around you really achieve the excellence and bring them the successes that they're capable of in life. So money does not define a person's character or their skills or their experience or potential for success or value to society. People achieve success and fulfillment in life regardless of their wealth. Some of the most successful people in the world come from, beginning with no money. And so if you can choose a life without it, and be a better person, shouldn't you? A person's character and how they make the world around them a better place is what provides the most meaning to our lives and, the lives of others. So the endless, pursuit of money does have negative consequences as well. People who prioritize money above all things really do sacrifice their health, their relationships, their overall well-being in the pursuit of just money. And so, as one of my favorite quotes, as the Dalai Lama would say, when asked what surprised him most about humanity, answered, man, because he sacrifices his health in order to make money, then he sacrifices money to recuperate his health. And then he is so anxious about the future that he does not enjoy the present. The result being that he does not live in the present or the future. He lives as if he will never go, he's never going to die. And then he lives as if he is never going to die, and then dies, never really living. So having influential relationships with others and providing a positive life, changing impact on the lives of others is really what creates meaning in our lives. It's not about what we have and what we wear and where we travel. So a quote from Lord of the Rings, I wish it need not have happened in my time, said Frodo, and so do I, said Gandalf, and so do all who live to see such times, but that is not for them to decide. All we have to decide is what to do with the time that is given to us. And so here I clarify It is not up to us to decide what adversity or situation is given to us. It is only up to us what we do with the time given to us. So I say money is meaningless. Instead, life is about what we do with the time that we have. So live a meaningful life, live your best life, and really make the world a better place around you, regardless of the situation that you're given and regardless of what money you have, because money really doesn't matter. What matters is what you do with each moment that you have, and who you are as a person and how you make the world around you a better place. And so thank you. So definitely good luck. Take actions to be the best that you can be and really make a difference in the world around you and help the world be the best that it can be. Pick other people up and, help others, be their best self as you be your best self and make the world its best self. And so definitely focus on actions because they are what make the best outcomes. Make the most of every moment. And good luck.